Hello everyone, and welcome back to Brick Country. Mason here. Today in this video, we are going to be building 3 awesome clone-related Star Wars scenes. I'm going to be building 3 dioramas or biomes of 3 different classes of clone troopers in a limited amount of time, so we'll see what happens. Without further ado, let's get started. But real quick, I promised you guys I would show you what minifigures I got in the space boxes for the minifig line and my most recent short. So let's take a look at that real quick. So the minifigs I got were the insectoid alien and this like robot nurse minifigure, which comes with a pink space baby. Pretty cool figures. I really love the bases they come on though, how they have the stars all over them. And I really like these figures. You can see the Space Nurse has some very nice arm printing with like some stats and stuff on it. And the baby is a very nice mold. It's the same space baby mold we've had in the past, but in pink now. And I think that's really cool that we're getting variants of it. And the alien is obviously cooler in my opinion. It's got a very nice big head mold here, and also a ladybug or beetle synthetic wing design here. I love the leg usage here. They got some like Demogorgon legs. He's also holding a little berry or something, maybe from his native planet. And I could see some really cool MOCs being done with that figure. Now though, let's get on to the main point of the video, Star Wars MOCs. So since I want these MOCs to be diverse and unique, I decided to start off with a pretty niche clone trooper for my first of 3 choice with the Geonosian airborne trooper. Now, I don't believe this guy actually makes an appearance in any Star Wars material like Clone Wars or anything like that. They do phase 1 versions, never phase 2, but this battle pack exists where you got 2 airborne and 2 of the normal phase 2, and I really love these figures. They're just so cool with their Geonosian color scheme camouflage. Now, as for the base of the build, I decided to start with a black border, kind of like the dioramas Lego does, and a lot of this dark nougat color scheme. I actually used all of my dark nougat plate on this build, and then I tried various angled plates and just tried as much different shades of brown as I possibly could onto this plate besides, the normal tan and dark reddish brown, because I wanted the planet diorama to feel as much like Geonosis as possible. I tried my hand at trying different spires and different things like that, but I settled on just some basic simple designs, and I think it turned out really well. Then at the very end, I just decided to take as many of these 1x1 nougat plates and just cover the MOC with them. So as you can tell, it's my first time building a Geonosian style MOC, as the groundwork is a little rough, but I think it gets the job done as the rough sandy desert of Geonosis, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm very excited though to learn from this and do other details in my future MOCs. And I tried to add some representing the pillars that are frequently in Geonosis, just like little bits and corners of them. Because you had to use some snot bricks to have them at different angles, and I think it gets the job done. And from the front perspective, it looks really good. I really like how the base turned out with the 1 layer of plate and then tiles around everything else, and then having just the landscape itself poking up. And yes, I know I added a second clone, so technically it's 2 clones instead of 1, but I feel like this scene just needed another clone. You can see I'm representing it as almost they're on patrol, they're scouting out the landscape in their really cool camo color schemes, and I just think this MOC turned out very well. On to the next. Now, this one is a little less rare of a figure, but it's still a pretty niche group of clone troopers. This is a shock trooper from the brand new battle pack that released this year. Now, this figure looks pretty basic now, and I know the helmet holes are rough, but I'm actually planning on adding a shoulder cape from an older stormtrooper minifigure, and I think this will just improve the look so much as he looks more like an officer, and with just a little bit of cloth, I think he looks a lot better with that pauldron. How cool does that look? So yeah, with some slight modification, I think this figure is ready for my MOC. I started with this almost octagon-like plate and started building up a base around the sides. And then once I had built the base, I was doing this snot-based wall and just spent a while trying to find all the brick because I don't have much dark gray brick left. So I was digging through my 1x brick for that, and I was able to find enough snot bricks and different things like that to put the whole thing together. You can see my lights are flickering a little bit as my battery was running low, but I was able to get everything done in time, I think. We got the wall installed, and now let's look at the finished product. So yeah, this MOC turned out a little simpler than the rest of the MOCs, I think, but I think it looks really good at the same token. You can see I decided to throw a mouse droid in at the very end for just added detail, just to fill up that space. And I really like how that back wall turned out, using some snot techniques to mount it on the back. It's a little sloppy work back here, but you're only really looking at it from this side. The base, I used 2 different types of angled plates and angled pieces. I did not have enough of these elements, so I had to substitute it right here along the back. And I really like how these vents look on the side. And I tiled off the base with some different jumpers, and I think it gets the job done of this like Venator hallway area, or maybe it's somewhere on Coruscant, maybe a prison cell area. I just think it gives the sleek and elegant look of a base that a shock trooper would be located in. So for my last clone, I chose one of my personal favorites, as it's such a unique clone, the Kashyyyk clone trooper. He has that really nice exclusive mold for the helmet, and I just love the color scheme on this figure with that olive green and the dark brown legs. I really wish these characters got more screen time in Revenge of the Sith, as that's just such a fun and awesome sequence of shots. So my plan for this figure is to maybe give it a little bit of a Kashyyyk base forest floor area, and I think it'll be really cool having this figure wave through some like tall grass. And without further ado, let's try it out. For this MOC, I want to just try a technique I've seen done for a while and haven't got a chance to do it, but here in this video I'm doing it, of course. I started with some just different circular plates for a base, and then I was covering the build with some grass elements, and then I got a bucket of my stem elements, and then just started covering the MOC with as much as possible, leaving a nice little hole in the middle for the minifigure. Then I tried, you can see, posing the figure in different poses in the middle. I ended up having to extract the figure, though, to finish with the grass. Then I added a little tree at the end. There we go. How cool does that look? I took some basic limb elements and put a bunch of these stem elements into them, and I think it really achieves this thick grass look. And then I just added a simple design with some different arches for the tree, and I think that turned out really well. The base obviously is just some different circular plates stacked on top of each other, and I think it looks really cool having this figure wade through this tall grass on the planet Kashyyyk, and I think it's really cool. It's one of my personal favorites of the 3 I've done today. And as for the blaster rifle, I just took Lego's basic rifle, put a Technic pin on the front, and then attached this clip to look like a really cool mag. Well, there you go. These are my clone diorama MOCs, and I think they turned out very, very good. Now, as for favorites, I know I said that the Kashyyyk clone is one of my favorite clones, and it definitely is. It's just such a cool character. But as for the actual diorama to go with the clone, I think my favorite is the Geonosian one, as it is just such a cool planet, and these clones are so unique. And I think the black base did a lot to help this one. I didn't get a chance to do a black base for the other 2, so I think that helped this one a lot. And I really just enjoyed doing this landscape. I need to get better at landscape. I know it's not the best Geonosian landscape, but it's really cool how it turned out for me. And I also like how the spires turned out with these snot work. They're simple, not too complicated, but they get the effect done. And yeah, I just really, really love this one. But be sure to comment below what your favorite of the 3 is. I love LEGO Star Wars, and I'm really glad that I had the chance to build some awesome dioramas of clones, which are the best part of Star Wars, in my opinion. So I thoroughly enjoyed being able to put these together, and I thoroughly enjoyed making this video. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and comment below what your thoughts are on the build and your favorite of them. If you want to see more awesome LEGO content right now, though, you can check it out on the end screen now. See you guys later. Farewell.